Do, re, mi, fa, so, pu, ra, no. On, ra, pu, so, fa, mi, re, do. Okay, I think I got that right. Hi everybody, welcome back to stream number 2. Stream number 2 is based on a short origin story of how I eventually came to streaming. I just hope it's a lot better than the explanation that I give with Stream 0 using a character creation thing. Yeah, let's call it that. I guess we can start from the beginning in that sense. Transition to the hot screen. Please note that all the pictures that I use here aren't exactly, well, they fit the image of whatever's currently going on inside the picture. But what I can tell you is that when I first came to, about a month ago in January, I was awake I was in a bed. It was a hospital bed. Found myself wrapped up in white sheets. And when I woke up, I found out that only my right eye was working. But it turns out that my right eye was just crusted over. And with that, I was able to wipe off the crust out of my eyes and then be able to see a lot clearer. The whole environment was dimly lit. A lot of the fixtures, not of the medical part, were dirtied. But it felt relaxing. And then sooner or later, the only door to this room was opened. And I was greeted by, I guess, what could be a doctor at this time. He immediately noticed as I entered the door that I was awake. He went over to me and asked if I was okay. It's like... And then said he was gonna check if everything's all right. Blood pressure, 121/83. Beats per minute, around 70. Good resting heart rate. It was a clean bill of health, though I don't really know how I ended up inside the hospital, or at least the clinic. He was prepared to give me a blood draw, but he assured me that he didn't need to do it, because he had already done it while I was unconscious, or at least sleeping. And then his mood changed from the whole caring and hospitality side of his work to a more rough manner. He mentioned that this was a favor that was given to him by the powers that be, and said to take everything that I had, that I came in with, coat, pants, clothing, and be on my way. I did it immediately in a heartbeat. And as soon as I entered the door, I exited the clinic, the door slams. And I find myself, well, I guess what could be in a rundown apartment. It's fitting mostly, given the fact that the place was dimly lit, similar to how the hospital was. It was a lot more dirtier compared to the hospital. Well, clinic. Seemed to get the two mistaken. Well, nothing much to do except gain my directions, and there was only so much that I could get from a windowless building. There were barely any windows inside this place, so I ended up walking outside. This image was a little bit inaccurate. It was between early to mid-afternoon. And I'm guessing there weren't a lot of people in this area, but it was a city. And a lot of people walking, that's for sure. At least from where I was, there wasn't a lot of people. Can be very confusing at times. I ended up just walking about for 30 minutes, just understanding that this place was indeed a city, complete with people, tall buildings, traffic signs, lots of cars, a lot of hustle and bustle. After walking about for 30 minutes, something compels me to look inside my look inside my coat, as well as any of the pockets that I have on my person. And inside my person pockets, I find a wallet. Not much in it. Nothing of personal identifiable information, but about $20. It's pretty good. Nothing in my left pocket, though, in my pants. As for my coat, nothing in my right pocket, nothing in my left pocket. But in my breast pocket, I find a postcard. A postcard of 2 pine trees barriered by some gate. Yeah, it's probably just something to help out with the dogs. And a synagogue, well, based on the Star of David. And it was inside, well, a part of the city, guessing by the apartments that are in the area. It was a very rough sketch of the place. I thought to myself, if this is going to be where I need to head, I could at least ask for directions. But it felt kind of awkward to just ask away at random people inside, well, out in the streets. So I went over to a random bodega, or a convenience store. I went through about 3 convenience stores until I found somebody that was, well, interested in looking at the postcard rather than selling me a postcard for a similar amount. He told me that postcard, well, specifically the words on the top of here, are a Hebrew word for Beit Knesset, which means a house of assembly. Or I wouldn't know if it's the exact script that was on here, but he knew that he mentioned it was Beit Knesset, house of assembly. It was something to go off of. Plus, he was one of the few that actually offered me a map of the place to see if I couldn't find it. Well, I did find it about 30 minutes later after giving me directions. I felt a little bit more confident to ask people and where to go. And so there I was, in front of the synagogue. And inside the synagogue, well, not a lot of people. In fact, house of worship, the doors were unlocked, allowing for, I guess, some form of solitude or prayer. There wasn't anybody in there. I was then compelled to sit in one of the pews and just take in the moment. I was in a church. Churches are considered safe places. There was a lot to think about. Me coming from a clinic. Keep on getting that wrong. Getting ushered out of that clinic and then going into the city. And then finding out that I needed to go to the synagogue. What else does this person before me that woke up have in store for me? Was then not introduced, a person from the synagogue. I believe it was a rabbi. He didn't look like this, but he had a yarmulke. He then greeted me, saying, "Shalom Aleichem." and I greeted him back using the reverse Aleichem Salam. He was then curious as to who I was, and that same voice that compelled me to go to the synagogue and sit in the pews told me to say, "I am nobody." So I said, "I am nobody." The rabbi, curious at the answer, asked again, "Are you nobody?" I responded, "Yes, I am nobody." "Come with me," the rabbi says. We then leave the pew and leave the worship area into a foyer. On both sides of the foyer, there are two sets of stairs. Oh, there is a set of stairs on both sides of the foyer. Sorry about that. We go up the foyer, and he asks me to wait in front of a room with a chair next to the door. I wait there. In about 2 minutes, he comes out with a book. And I actually have this book with me. And after trying to locate the rest of the items that were there, I'll show it to you. Give me a little bit. Gotta do some adjustments. So, after the priest had offered me, well, he asked me to go into the room where he found the book to allow me to view the contents in private. And inside this book, I found the following items. There was a phone, a USB, a thumb drive, of course the game console right here, like some sort of controller, and a watch. Couldn't tell what time it was, but I ended up checking the time on one of the clocks that was inside the synagogue. Turns out it was about 4:17 p.m. Either way, I now had a means to tell the time. And the phone right here, oh, excuse me. As soon as I activated this phone, it was trying to track my location. It had difficulty tracking the location, and there was a pop-up saying, "Tracking location is difficult. Are you indoors?" I hit yes, and then it just says for me to go outside. I leave that for later, and then I look at the USB. Not much about it, but that'll come a lot later. And of course, these two items will come later, especially. Right, that's the contents of it. I guess I can move back to the hot screen. But I could also add that this desk right here will be very important sooner or later. I have some plans I want to get into, but I'll focus on them a little bit later. I do need to get that planned. I do have one hint to give you. My predecessor originally had this, what was left on top of this table. I guess in accordance with some other items that I plan on posting, I may have to repair a few things. A few instructions here and some workstation stuff there. And a little bit more planning. I'll be able to get something out of the way. Make sure to do some marketing as well. Alright, let's get back over to the hot screen. Alright, I think we're back. That's good. So, with that said, and all the contents pulled out from the book, I put them back inside the book and decided to take both the book and the contents with me. I thanked the rabbi afterwards, and then I left and decided to go outside to get the phone to track my location. The location was, well, it wasn't exactly the location, but it was a compass once the tracking worked on it. And the compass had, well, it was already pointed in a direction other than north, or at least there was probably something that was saved on there. Limited by the streets that I could take, I had to follow that compass based on those streets. I found myself going north, then west, then west, then west to third block, and then west to fourth block until I saw the needle change to go north. And afterwards, I went north, and I found myself in an apartment area. Sparse trees, buildings, bricks mostly. I believe my apartment was this door right here. Or at least close to the description of the door that I know of. Very ornate. The compass then changed to show directions for me going upwards. I needed to go up in order to reach its destination. It's funny how that thing could do that. I find myself going up one floor and then on the second floor. This would be the second floor if you're referencing it. As soon as I reach one of the doors in the apartment, the screen on the phone changes to a key. And the key, when brought near to one of the doors, automatically unlocks it. And the door opens. Well, I would say it opens, but something was causing it to, well, something on the other side was obstructing it. But it wasn't enough to prevent somebody from forcing the door open with a heavy push. This apartment, it was strewn. It's dirty. Lots of trash and whatnot inside the place. It's a bit difficult to get through. You know what? I'm gonna find an image of that. Let's see if I can't find something of sorts. Well, funny. I talk about a trashy apartment, and I get a lot of images. No, it wasn't like this. I'd say it was akin to this. A lot of stuff strewn off in front of the place, and then at least there was some form of a walkway. It was good. It was good at least to walk, but the smell The smell lingered as if there were just rotten things left outside. Fortunately, I didn't need to go deeper in because the key, the screen, well, my phone screen that changed into a key, it changed into a different key, and it unlocked a door that was closest to the entrance. And here I am inside the room where it is unlocked to. It's a workstation. It's a workstation with things in the bottom. Well, the two tables. One meant for that repair thing that I had in mind, and this workstation over here. I'll tell you, it's a lot cleaner and a lot more habitable, though the space is a bit constricting. The bed, for instance, would be opposite of my workstation. Well, there wasn't much to do afterwards except, well, turn on the computer, for instance. Unfortunately, even after checking if the computer is on, the computer wouldn't turn on. Likely due to the fact that the breaker switch was off. So I had to go out of the of the workstation area into the trash and then somehow struggle through the trash to find the breaker switch. And the breaker switch was off. And immediately after turning on the breaker switch, I went back to the workstation and shut the door immediately. Thank goodness no trash came inside. It turned on. I was very happy about that. Unfortunately, with every personal computer, there's usually a password or so that prevents people from accessing it. My first try, I just put in some random letters. Let's use this for example. I just put in some random letters in the screen once I hit the password. But before that, I noticed that it said the name Soprano on there. So maybe I was clearly someone who preferred the confines of the workstation and clearly made the rest of my apartment room seem really cluttered. Maybe it was to deter people from coming in, but it seems like somebody else might have lived here. Aside from whoever I was before all this. Passwords. But to the point. Typed in some random letters for the password, got it incorrect, because once you put in the incorrect password, it does provide a hint. The hint I was provided was the word soles. S-O-L-E-S. And I guess without disclosing too much, I looked at the soles of my feet. Nothing much, save for the imprints of feet that have been close to this computer for the longest time. I eventually got the password right after doing a little bit of thinking. So, it's a rather strong password, that's for sure. Had me working that one for at least 2 minutes. After accessing that password, I was able to get under the desktop screen, but then I was met with another pop-up screen saying, "Insert key." Initially, I had thought that the key from my smartphone would be the key to do it. So by some strange design, I decided to move my phone across the screens, across the desktop, across the PC tower, but no luck. It was then I realized that inside my book there was the USB might have been beneficial. Well, it might have had some merit of use. So I put that USB inside one of the USB ports, and the key was immediately accepted. Some pop-up screens like command prompts started showing up, putting in some information or commands for the computer to execute. And then, at the end of it all, once it was done, the USB was safe. It was prompted to eject the USB. Then all of a sudden, the USB, it got really hot, like as if it was overheating, and then it sparked. And what you saw from that webcam was possibly the the after effects of it. It's unfortunate, though. The thing was a 32 gigabyte USB. Could have used it for other items. But nonetheless, it's been good. And after looking around, I had a chance to look at some apps. Well, from the group's OneNote. I think the only thing I found was this. It was some strategy guide for a game, but it looks like it was possibly used for maybe something else, because I noticed that there was a lot of Pokemon cards. Might have to get deeper into that, because there's a box and there was some instructions. Well, sooner or later, now it's been a month though. I think, given enough time and maybe some more streaming efforts, I could see a few more things added to this. Maybe some new sections or some new pages, according to the OneNote's namesake. While going through all of that, I was then interrupted by a message in my mailbox. It was a mailbox thing from Heike. Well, the sender was a Heike. Heike decided to put me into, well, a theater audition. And this theater audition is, I guess, what I just came back from today. Today we finished off doing some workshop stuff for choreography. We're currently doing a play involving a female matchmaker extraordinaire that's, well, recently widowed and I would say dirt poor, and she's currently looking for a rich husband. It was really fun. It was nice interacting with people, that's for sure, and I like it. I was able to do well both for the callback that happened, and we're currently on our 8th rehearsal. I think the director likes me. And hopefully the music director and the choreography director likes me in a way. I'm improving. Though I'd say I need to really strengthen my back muscles a lot better. Just noticed that my arms and my legs are doing better, but my back needs more support. They're also the ones that got me to do this streaming thing. Within the month between now and when I first found this place, this was the audition. I had the auditions going on for the theater productions. I had to organize, well, all of this and also review the items that I wanted to do through the stream. And all in all, they said that I had 6 months just to see if I can remember myself. Not sure if I can in 6 months, but I guess I've been through worse. So here I am lambasting about my life story. It's already about 35 minutes. It's actually not too bad that I've done that so far. What's more, I think it would be appropriate if I at least provided myself a schedule. All the other people that are doing this live streaming stuff are doing schedules. Might as well do one for mine. That and posting. I realize that with the theater production that's been going on, I only have so many days out of the week to post, and I think it's going to be taking up about 3 months out of the day. 3 months out of the year. Excuse me. So I can get this thing on the road. So with that said, Tuesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays, again, will be my live streaming moments, and I'll make it a point to at least post something on the days that I'm not posting, whether it be a post on the platform or maybe a video itself. Turns out that after looking through my OneNote and other contents, not only am I a good thespian, I'm a good singer. And I'm going to go with that. So, with that said, if you'll endure me and my mannerisms, hope everything will go well at this point. Probably need to do a little bit more marketing, though. Either way, happy to have you. And that's it for the stream. I'll see you guys next Tuesday.